All right, I figured I would finally do like a tree monitor tour, update, walkthrough, whatever you want to call it. I finally have enough enclosures that I feel like prior to now, I couldn't convince myself that my stuff was good enough to do videos on it. Finally getting to a state where I feel like my stuff looks good enough and I have enough of it to where I have reason to do videos. So, with that said, this is my living room. This is half of the enclosures. So I have one down here, two here, and one next to me. I'll start with these guys over here. These are my green tree monitors. Here's the whole enclosure. We literally cleaned this door yesterday and she already shit on it, so that's cool. I will probably in this video include me taking him out of here because I need to separate him because she is very gravid and she needs to be alone. She's probably gonna lay eggs in, I don't know, 8 to 10 days if I had to guess. And she's gonna jump at me. That didn't take long. And he's a psycho, complete opposites. But yeah, even full of eggs, she's jumping around. So if I can, get her to go back in the enclosure, that'd be great. But yeah, you can see she's like no cares. Wild caught, by the way. Can't beat that. Pretty fucking happy with that. Especially the fact that she was my first tree monitor. Can't beat that. I'm certain the reason I committed as hard as I did is because her being wild caught and my first tree monitor experience really got me hooked. But then I have the yellow tree enclosure. Here's the male yellow tree. The female is in this tube. I'm assuming that's where she always is. Yep, there's her nose. And he's been trying to court her and she is not interested. So when she's not interested, she just runs into this tube because his fat ass can't fit in there. Anyways, so over here's the black tree enclosure and the giant male black tree. The female is in this tube. One of the things that I still need to do, I did not do a proper drainage layer in these when I set these up. I will be honest, I could not find the hydro balls in time and I just wanted this shit done. I definitely regret it because of it. All my plants that I had in this one died. And yeah, it sucks. Pretty disappointed about it, but I did put a drainage layer in here, so now I just gotta wait until all the plant nurseries start stocking nice plants again, like this guy, and then I can throw some better stuff in here with a proper drainage layer. But yeah, he is pretty scared of everybody at all times. He's actually missing probably 4 to 6 inches of his tail. Came to me with like a necrotic end of his tail that was only like this, and in just a week it went from this to probably this, and we had to lob it off. So that sucked. You can tell he's getting kind of uncomfortable by my presence. Sorry, dude. Yeah, and then I got the feeder cups in with them, these guys over here, and the blue tree. He hates me. That's fine though. They came in fine. Within 2 days they started showing signs of respiratory infections. I'm assuming obviously it just got way too cold during shipping, because they ate the day they showed up, they ate the second day, and then the third day they're just like, nope, no more food. But I'm keeping dubia and a cup full of water in with them. And yeah, this is kind of a temp enclosure, I guess you could say. Like, obviously it doesn't have the decked out walls that these ones do. I just threw this together in a hurry. I do not like putting animals in an enclosure where they cannot climb the walls at all. So this is pretty bare bones as far as that goes, but it gets the job done. So this is a 4 long by 2 deep by 6 foot tall. These are 4 long, 3 deep, 6 tall. And this is 4 long, 2 deep, 6 tall. These are animal plastics enclosures, these 2 black ones, and then my roommate and I built these ones, and we sourced the PVC ourselves. And that's why they look kind of shoddy, but that's fine. They get the job done. And then as far as misting and lighting goes, I have a mist cane set up over here, reservoir, pump, and then I just got this one set up kind of recently. So the last thing that I need to do, other than, you know, modifying the walls, is I need to split another T off this guy, or move this over here, and then run miskin nozzles here. But you can see line goes up and down into this cage, and then a T over, and that sprays up here, and then there's a nozzle on the side. You can see this one here a little bit better. So I have 4 nozzles in each cage, and then I also have shutoff valves on the lower 2 so that I don't drown the plants. But yeah, over, and then another T, and then the UV light goes in here. And I'll just show these now. The basking lights are sat into 8.5-inch circle, cut into the lid with a screen placed on the inside. I need to cover the tops of these ones still, but you know, fuck it, whatever. But these are par 38 halogens, the like 72 watt, the like 90 watt equivalent, whatever. So these are pumping, you know, 12 inches and then like 1.5 feet. These are 145 and 125, 130 basking spots. And then same here, 135, 140, and then like 125. But same thing. And then with this cage, did the same thing, except this time I actually aligned it nicely. Like you can see it. There's a ring on the inside so that it looks nicer. But yeah, and he's losing his mind. Anyways, T, same thing, another T, and then I aligned it up over the ceiling to these cages because obviously I don't want to be clotheslining myself every time I walk by this. This was our first big build, and we didn't quite have the idea to inset the lights. So what we did was we took a 40-gallon breeder lid and screwed it into the top, and then just cut holes on the inside. And yeah, it works great. Surprisingly, it's kind of nuts. It's not sat as far in, so there's some air leaking and like heat leaking that happens, which is like my big complaints about it. When these guys aren't in here, I'm sure I'll change that to look like the others. But yeah, onto the new monitor room. So first off, the male green is going to be going in this one. So here I have the baby tree monitor enclosure, and then all these guys. When I do the 0.5, it makes it look tiny. So yeah, this is like a fisheye lens. Sorry about it. My enclosures are not this small. But yeah, so over here we have a Cordensis, male Cordensis, who will be leaving soon. And then we have another Cordensis. This guy's staying with me. And then the blue tree that came in with that male. And then this is the one that the male green tree's going in. And then the babies. So we got 3 hatchlings over here. And just for good measure, figured I'd just show. They are very, very outgoing. But they always fall. So I had to catch them. But all of them I can just pick up whenever I feel like. No issue. Absolutely no fear of me. They're all going through their first shed right now. So you can kind of see like patchiness on their noses. You can see it on that guy back there. But going through their first shed. So they'll be going to their new homes in a couple weeks. One of them is leaving in a few days because it's staying local. But like, how fucking blue this dude is. It's insane. Yeah, here he comes back. I know, I get it. Just want out all day. Yeah, let me wrangle this guy. Well, so these are a month old, just over a month old. For starters, this is a 3 long by 2 tall by 2 deep. This is a, I don't know, 18 by 24 by 36. What I want to do is replace both of these with 3 long, 2 deep, 3 tall. So then, you know, that'll be up here-ish. And do 2 of them here, and I have enough space for that to butt right up into that corner there. So then 2 baby enclosures, just the 6 foot there. If I start producing just an astronomical amount of tree monitors, which, you know, I can always hope for, can't guarantee. But if it goes well enough, what I'll end up doing is putting a 6 foot baker's rack here, and then do 2 of the 3 foots on the bottom, and then skip a level, and then do 2 3 foots up here. So that way I could fit 4 hatchling enclosures. And yeah, I think that'll look really good. But yeah, I just finished doing this, you know, 45 minutes ago. These are, as far as dimensions go, 3 long, 3 deep, 5 tall. 3 long, 3 deep, 5 tall. And then the 2 of these are 3.5 long, 3 deep, 5 tall. So these ones are 6 inches longer. I just did that specifically because if you look, you can see I had exactly that much space, and with just enough room in the middle to, you know, put the power strip and leave a few inches. And then this one, I did this size specifically so that I could set up the mist cane and power strips and everything here that I need to. So this was all pre-planned. I was thinking about butting this up against the wall, but my floor is uneven, so the fucking cage goes lopsided. It's so dumb. I'm gonna grab that male and throw him in here. All right, here he is. This dude's a dick. He hates me. For those that don't know how to properly restrain monitors, by the way, I'm pretty loose on this right now. If I really wanted to do it, I'd have my fingers more up by his ear up here. He calms down pretty quick. He's not going to try to bite me now, but when I first grab him, I like kind of pinch behind his head just with 2 fingers, and that makes it so he can't really move a whole lot, so he can't whip around and bite me. Here he's in the new home. So, and you can see I get a cup full of dubia, cup full of water, and then I just got to fill this mist cane reservoir. Got all this lined up here with the mist cane too. I got 1 nozzle in each of these instead of 2 because they're smaller enclosures, right? They don't need all of that, but same thing, line going up, the pump is mounted there, line going up, T over here, and then here, T, and then I pinned it here so it's not gonna rattle a whole bunch, and then T, and then just an L. But yeah, next thing I need to do now is get my own RO system set up, because carrying 4 5-gallon jugs of water from the aquatic store once a week is getting old. My back hurts. To kind of give you an idea of the way I set these up, you can see most of it's top centric because that's where they're going to be most of the time. I try to set up cork rounds about halfway up and then angle them if I can. So this one is actually, he being good. Okay. So I really like the way I did this one. This one is actually secured into this. Can't tell, but I shot a screw through right here and into the branch. You can see it from here. But then I just took some Type Bond and covered the screw, and then just took dust, like sawdust, and patted it over the screw, and you can't even tell. And then I did the same thing in the bottom down there, and then this branch is secured in this spot, and over here, that one is secured underneath. This is secured here. I didn't even bother hiding that screw. But so I try to have very stable, immovable objects in the enclosure, and then some that are loose. So like this, I can do whatever I want with that. He didn't like that. Sorry, dude. But so I try to give a good mix of solid objects that they are confident won't go anywhere, and then some that I can move around. So same thing in this, like this grapevine isn't attached, but this log across is screwed in. This one is screwed in the back, not in the front. This one is screwed in, and that's it. And kind of same here. This guy is screwed into the sides, and you can see the screw holes there. And then that one is in the back left. And then again, cork round, a little bit over halfway up, and halfway up. Well, a little over halfway up, like I said. But I try to keep my design for the cages pretty uniform. basking platform a foot from the light, cork round a foot below that, branches to climb on that are sturdy and won't move, some that can be moved. Here you can see the ring that I do for these ones now. But the walls are super thin cork flats, screwed in, siliconed in, spray foamed in, whatever. In this cage, they are spray foamed in, and then I covered the spray foam in silicone and dirt, and that took way too long. And then this one, I did the same thing, but this side is dry lock. For whatever reason, I decided to do that. That took way too long. So with these two, it's just cork flats that I screwed in. Took me half an hour per enclosure, and that was it. Called it a day. I still really like how it looks, even if it's super simple. Also, I know I briefly mentioned power strips, and then I have some in the living room. I did want to point out, these are so goddamn nice. TP-Link brand, it's Casa Smart Power Strips. I guess what I could do is just show the app. Here's, you know, all of my, all the plugs that I have. At the top, you can see all the groups that I've set, because you could set the lights in groups. So then I could set, you know, this as one group, which is, I call this one T4, T meaning temporary, because this is all temp housing cages. I know this is a lot of effort to put into temp housing, but I want my stuff to look nice. This is T4, T3, T2, and T1. So on my app, I have each of these listed as their own enclosure and in their own group, but then I also have this listed as a group called Monitor Room, so that all of these can be turned off from one group, but they can each be turned off individually by cage. And then I also have them listed as a group of basking lights, so that all of my basking lights can be turned off with one click. That includes the ones in the living room too. I'm constantly trying to fight to keep the temperature down in the house, because it'll very easily, for like an entire month or two, every day, if these basking spots all stay on, my temps in my house will easily hit 85 or 86. So what I usually have to do is run home from work, or have my girlfriend come home from work and turn the lights off for me. What happens if I want to go out of town in June or July? I can't, at least without the worry of my stuff overheating. And so I spend the whole time worrying. I don't do anything in those hotter months, and it sucks. I'm pretty limited on what I can do, because I have to worry about the animals. Which brings me to If This Then That, which basically makes two apps talk to each other, is the easy way to put it. So I have it so, you know, my smart thermostat that I have, right? I have an Ecobee smart thermostat, and if I go into If This Then That, I can tell it to read the Ecobee, and if is the Ecobee. If the Ecobee reads that my house temperature reaches 80 degrees, then, so if this, then, if my Ecobee reaches 80 degrees, then each of these basking spots turns off, and one basking spot in each enclosure in the living room turns off. And then if it reaches 84, the rest of my basking spots turn off. I leave the UV on, so I have light so that they're not in the dark, but all of the basking turns off. It's a nice safety net. If This Then That is a seriously, like next level program. It's some big brain shit. It's very techy. There's a lot of learning to it, but it's so worth it. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed. And then here's my grasshopper cages. Anyway, see you later.